Okay. I know I didn't announce it, and I'm probably not going to have anyone come in to watch, but I am sitting here getting ready to make one of the characters for my D&D game. May as well get it done now, so that Sunday, I can make the other critter. Alright, so... parameters... races... dwarf... drop. Now... go to my content library, clothing. The character is supposedly wearing a version of the long coat, so we add that on. Props. He had a... what style of shield did he have? And I don't remember what style he said he wanted. Okay, let's go ahead and give him the heater shield. And he has a flail in his right hand. There it is. Now, the basic pose. Let's go ahead and have him parameters side to side. Too much. Bend it forward a little bit. Okay. Now. Let's get a right-hand view so we can make sure we got the feet flat. And let's bend the toe. Go back to perspective view. Yeah, that's pretty good. And let's drop. Oh, that's not so good. The toe is not forward. Okay, let's undo that. And, excuse me, bend the foot a little. Now, left view. Bend. And there. Drop. And full screen. Now his chest and his abdomen are going to twist slightly. The abdomen bending forward a little and leaning to the left. Oh. The chest bending back, twisting even more, and side to side the other way. Well, I don't know if that's me watching or someone else. Now, what we need to do is we need to twist forearm, twist arm, bend up, that's too much. And another thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and bring it slightly flatter against the arm. Now, the neck, let's twist the neck side to side, twist the head. We're also going to close the mouth a little because, well, looks better. And let's side to side this back a little. Just a little. Bend the arm. But he's going to have his flail. Oh, that didn't work. Oh yeah, let's do it anyway. C rotate 180. And then Y translate. Oh, no. X translate. No, we need it to be kind of like that. Okay, perfect. Now, this is what we're going to export out. We're going to hide the flail and the shield and the long coat. We're going to export the base figure. And we're taking it into broadcast miniatures. Dwarf, flail, body. Save. Now I've got to admit, this is what someone else wanted as their character, so it's not going to be, you know, really amazing. File, export, dwarf, flail, props. See, when I export, it automatically exports everything that's currently visible, which is why I'm hiding various parts. File, export, dwarf, flail, long coat. Save. Accept. crap, I didn't have my Wacom plugged in. Let's go ahead and plug it in. And make sure a little blue light comes on. And yep, came on. Okay, good. Now, that's this program. So we're going to next take it into ZBrush. In ZBrush, we're going to start off by importing top 3D printing home, meshes, free sculpt minis, broadcast minis, dwarf flail body. And that's our dwarven body. Now we're going to append another subtool. And this one is going to be the long coat. Then we're going to append another subtool, and this one is going to be props. So for right now, this is what we have. I'm going to start off by hiding the props and selecting the long coat. Now, general shapes happen here. So we're going to move now we're going to have to move the collar out because he's going to be wearing a breastplate, and that breastplate is going to be underneath the long coat. The next thing we do, we're going to go ahead and geometry divide. We're going to bring it up to 1.5 million polygons. Oh, we're going to move this up. Yeah. And let's move this out too. Let's move topological so that we're not affecting anything else, and we're going to bring this back over. The reason being is that way it's not going to be a pain in the ass to print. Now, anything else that we do for this is going to happen after we do everything else in the body, because that's where most of our sculpting is going to come from. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add on his hat and facial hair. So once again, well actually no, let's go ahead. Alright, the hands are the only things that are going to be actually visible, hands and face. Let's shrink this down. I'm going to select inflate, and then I'm going to very carefully inflate his eyebrows. So that'll be easier to see. Then I'm going to go back to move, make them bigger, raise the outer of this one, lower the inner, and then with move topological, let's give him a snarl. And then again, a little bit of inflate. Let's make his cheekbones a little bit sharper, because this is where it's going to be right above the beard. We want to make it not be lost. And then we're going to inflate the lip again so it won't be lost. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now, we go to geometry. We're going to subdivide it a couple times. The reason for this is not for detail sculpting on this, but rather because I make the clothing by basically masking off parts of the original body and extruding them. Coincidentally, that's also how we handle the hair. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the breastplate. Oh, that's not good. It's too big for one. It's hitting the chin when I don't want it to. So let me go ahead and hide those. There we go. Yes, that is something you can do in Zbrush. Now the back doesn't need to be really that oomphy because it's going to be hidden by the coat. I'm just going to make sure that whatever does get through connects on both sides. Alright, now we're going to unmask that little line there. And now let's go ahead and bring all the parts back. And as a subtool, I am going to extract the armor. That's good enough for me, except, and it's now a new subtool. Now the thing is, the body still has that masking, so let's undo that masking. And we'll make the torso visible, the breastplate actually. And as you can see, we're going to do some additional modifying to the long coat as soon as we finish with the armor. Now, one thing we got to do is we got to remove the pectoral definition, because yes, it happened in some Greek and Roman armors, but it doesn't. Oh no, it looks kind of in my opinion. Too many. Okay, we're going to accept that, because what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and smooth. Actually, we don't want to go too close to the edge. We want to smooth this. And then we're going to use standard. We're going to make sure we turn off lazy mouse, and we're going to go ahead, oh, way too much. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start smoothing out the breastplate without losing the overall shape. Now, next thing is slash. I'm going to get a very large brush, very low intensity, very large brush. Add. I'm going to come down this. Oh no. We want to come down like this, and just hit 1, Then we're going to go down like that. Now we're going to shrink the brush size, increase it just a little bit, and come down this way. We want it to look like a breastplate, not a bare chest. Now that's huge. If we make it transparent, it sticks out way farther than the chest. So let's go back to move, expand it big. Back, okay. The second we start seeing flesh poke through, that's enough. Turn off transparency. Still has a breastplate, but it doesn't look too ridiculous. Now I'm going to take the back here and I'm going to move the back in, because we don't need that poking through the long coat. Now, the thing is, we now have just the chest plate. We need the waist plate too. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually pull this in a bit. Pull it into the bottom of the torso. Oh, it's too big. Shrink the brush. Pull in just the bottom torso until it's very close to the skin. The reason for this is because I'm going to take the breastplate and I'm going to subdivide it a couple times until it's really high polygon. Lower, shrink the brush again, and now I'm going to make the waist plate. Now the way I'm going to do that is, yes, I've covered up quite a bit, but we don't necessarily want all of that. What's going to happen is, let me go ahead and turn that off. What's going to happen is now I'm going to take and erase the mask. So, oh, too much. That's nice and pointed. And then I'm going to extract that. Accept. And we have a breastplate, although I'm going to, okay, we got to move. I'm going to give a little bit more of a gap here. Make it a little bit clearer that this is in fact a separate plate. And then on the breastplate, I'm going to draw a little hammer. So we go back to standard. We shrink it down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off, I'm going to basics. And then I'm going to do something rather odd. I'm going to bring this down to try and make it as parallel as possible. I am going to draw on the rest of the hammerhead. And then I go to masking and I invert it, and then let's increase the intensity to 15 to 11. Yeah, 11. And then I smooth out. Oh, let's pop the intensity. I smooth out the bottom. And the top. Then unmask. What did I mask? And I went way too far. So Z, 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 Z. There we go. Let's bring the intensity way back down. And let's and smooth this a bit. Okay, I'm going to take layer. There we go. I'm going to shrink it down to about this size. Higher intensity. And once again, we're going to smooth it. That's good enough for now. When we look at it with the coat on, and the next thing we got to do is we got to move that coat again. We're going to move topological because we want it to maintain the topology. Now, first things first. What the hell? Move topological. Focal shift 0. And we're going to increase that draw size a bit. We're also going to bring it up over the edge of the armor plate down here. And oh, wrong one. Yeah, this side, bring it out. And what I'm doing here is eventually I am going to be blending this long coat with a set of sleeves. But the sleeves are easier to make directly on the figure, especially if there's going to be interesting aspects to them. Just pull it out just a little bit longer, and a little bit more over here. And then after I do that, I'll be putting the wrinkles on and the collar on and all that. Frame. Alright. Actually, let's go ahead and turn it to a white material. It's easier to sculpt them white. And as would be expected, I have no viewers. Anyway. That's the breastplate. However, we are going to hide, or not so much hide, but move the bottom of the waist plate so that we can give him a belt. We're gonna give him just a belt that's visible from the waist plate. You see, we can cheat a lot with clothing on things that are never going to be seen, like underneath the coat. Okay. Now, we're going to select the Dwarven Paladin. We're going to hide the breastplate. We're going to hide the chest, the hips, and the thighs. It didn't work. So we're going to hide the hands. Reason being is because we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to find an angle where we can just do a straight there. Now we're going to expose that, and let me shrink this. I'm just going to take it and we're going to draw a rectangle. And hold on just a second. Okay. And let's actually make it a little thicker, 0.04. I want to make sure that it'll extract as a belt. And okay. Okay, and I'm going to have to take a pause because it is breakfast time. Yes, I know. So, I've got to go take care of some things before I come back and finish making this. And who, wait, we got somebody else in here. Who dat? Who dat? Who dat? Yeah. Again, I'm sorry. Right as you came in, I have to head out because I've got to take care of things here. You know, something about taking care of your 70-year-old grandmother. So, 7-year-old mother, rather. Alright. Be back in about 15 minutes. Okay, sorry about that. Now, that's pretty much the torso done, but we still need to make our sleeves. So we're going to hide everything else. And we're going to select the sleeves. Let me get my tablet again. Now, we're going to draw out those sleeves. Starting, let's make the head invisible again. And the jaw. Now, let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's make it a little bit smaller. No, can't be taller. Yeah. If I had a girl, then I would call her. Zoom in, shrinky dinky. Okay, so continue drawing on the sleeves. Yes, green sleeves, that's what they are. Yeah. Now we're going to extract, but this time we're going to make sure to take this back down to 0.02. Extract. Accept. And this. Now. Oh, no. We need to polygroup it because I noticed there were a couple spots that didn't quite make it right. So auto group. Select. Okay. We're going to select that. Select everything. Bring it back. And up here, under subtool, we are going to split masked parts. And then we're going to take that little itty bitty bit and we're deleting it. Okay. We're here. Now, one thing we're going to do, we're going to zoom in on this part. Move topological and move it in because we don't want it causing too much of a problem later. Frame. Now we make the long coat visible, and I see we've got some work to do on these sleeves, so let's move topological. We're going to take the edges of the sleeves and bring them up and even into the jacket, because we want the jacket and the sleeves to be one piece. And I don't mean an anime. And that includes down here. Now, obviously, when I get more used to using this particular piece of clothing, it'll be easier to guess where I'm going to need to make adjustments like this. Okay. And we have the sleeves added on. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to move it down until it's right above the long coat. No, we got to move it. Yeah. And we're going to merge down. Okay. There, now it's one piece. Now the next step, geometry, Dynamesh. Oh, didn't work right. Let's change the blur to 0 and the resolution to 256. Dynamesh. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the shoulders of the coat just a bit more like a traditional coat. Make it look like a coat, not like a surcoat. We're also going to blend in some of the details because we don't need full musculature on the sleeves of a coat. And then we take this and we bring it out straight. Once again, to make it look like a coat. Frame, frame. Now we go ahead and we go back. Let's make everything visible so far. Let's subdivide the props because they kind of need it. And delete lower. Okay, we're going to still need to do things like adding collars to the coat. We're going to base that off of more of a pirate style, but now what we're going to work on is the head and beard. I'm just doing all that just so I can zoom in on the head. Alright, now the thing is, the guy who made this wants him to have a beard, but otherwise be bald. So what we're going to do, he's got a hat he wants him to wear. So we're going to draw on where the hat is. And it's going to be tilted to one side because it's, you know, it's a jaunty little hat. And yep, that's good. And yes, we're going to extract it. And we're going to go ahead and accept the extraction. Now from here, we've got to make a wide brim. So what we're going to do, we're going to mask off. Oh. The outside edge. The type of hat he's going to be having is effectively a flat hat. The 15th century style, not the modern version. Basically, it'll have a brim and a big floppy top. That's hangs low. Does your hat hang low? Can you swing it to and fro? Frame. And we're going to once again extract that. Except, well, let's make it thicker. 0.004. Oh, sorry. 0.04. Except, now what's going to happen, I'm going to go ahead and come from the top. We're going to start dragging the hat out. And we're going to look to see how it came out. Yeah. Now we need to make it thicker though, because that won't print. That's too thin. So we go to Deformation, which is right here. And we're going to just inflate. We're going to then make the brush a lot larger, and we're going to smooth it a bit. But the act of smoothing it has made it once again too thin. So we're going to inflate it just some more. And we're going to subdivide it. Then we're going to select the main hat itself. And we're going to have inflate selected. We're going to inflate it a little bit here. We're going to move it down because it's starting to poke through. Or starting to poke out, rather. Hide the edges. Don't worry, all of these edges will be fixed. Okay. Whoop. Let's zoom around. What we're going to do, first things first, I'm going to shrink this a little bit. I see some areas I need to smooth just a little. There we go. Now, back to inflate. We're going to inflate around the rim. Gonna smooth the top. And then we're going to increase the size, and we're going to go back to move topological. Grab the bottom edge. And we're going to flatten out the hat a little bit. Now the thing is, in the process of making this, I think we have made it far too big. Yes, we have. That's a ridiculous looking hat. So what we're going to do is we're going to merge it down to the one below. Let's go ahead and make it always okay. And then we're going to go back to deformation. We're going to scale it just a little bit down. But of course this means we now have to offset it up. And offset it back. And now we need to make it a little bit wider. Need to make a little bit wider. And give it a little, oh, too big. So a little bulge in the middle. Now, subtools. What subtools are currently visible? Okay. Now he needs his beard. Now, the beard that I've been asked for is going to be kind of weird. But don't be scared, it's just a beard. The beard that I've been asked for is a Castro-style beard. Which basically means and now visibility. No, this doesn't work. Okay, it's turn off the shoulders and upper arms, make it a little bit easier. Okay. Now let's make the cursor a little bit smaller once again. Come down. And let's make it visible. Let's make the hat visible just because. And we're going to extract 0.08. Extract. Accept. Now the reason why 0.08 is because we're going to be making this the full beard. We want a decent amount of geometry to work with. So let's bring this in and under the hat. smooth the whole bit just because it makes it easier on the and then we're going to make the breastplate and jacket visible so we can style the beard. But before we do anything else, we have to dynamesh it. Now the reason for this is not to blend the pieces together, but rather to allow us to sculpt the shape and give it a lot more, initially a lot less polygons, so it's easier to smooth the general forms, and then later a lot more polygons where we want them. So now we bring up the beard where it hits the shoulder. Alright, and then we're going to bring it out quite a bit. Now let's go ahead and bring the core of the beard down. He wants Castro, but it's still a dwarf, so it's got to have a decent sized beard. And let's bring up too little. The center of the beard. Bring down the corners. We're going to inflate it right along here. We're also going to go ahead and smooth out the... yeah. We're going to inflate the whole thing now, just a bit, just to give the beard some more body. Be more dwarven-like. And then we're going to subdivide it a couple times. Delete lower. Now we're going back to the head. Let's make the beard and zoom in because it'll make it easier on the head. Now what we're going to do is we're making the mustache separate from the beard because they're going to be treated differently. Too big. No, too big. Okay, now extract. No. Accept. Okay. Now, we once again dynamesh the beard. This time we inflate it a little bit. and dynamesh it. Not dynamesh, subdivide it. And we're going to move topological. We're going to move this deep into the beard. Now, we zoom out. He's looking dwarven already. Now let's go back to the beard because we need to make it look like hair and not a balloon. Get up here, Fuzzbutt. Yeah, good girl. Yeah, kitty interference. Sorry. Yes. And let's frame so we've got a good sight on it. Now, begin. Nope, just me. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the inflation to make the strokes. It's the strands of hair. And then I'm going to go back in later and cut it. By cut it, I mean I'm going to go in and get it with a slash tool to make the difference between the individual strands. Okay, now let's get the slash tool, and we're going in a little bit smaller. Not enough. I need to make it stronger and exaggerated. So now you'll notice we're not doing it to the mustache. That's because the mustache is separate. The mustache is small enough that it's its own curve. I might add the final detailing to it that we're going to do after we do all these individual strands of hair, these locks. That's the word I've been looking for. Yes, locks of hair. But now we got the division between them done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to zoom out just a little. And we're going to go back to deformation. We're going to inflate it like 2 points. No, 2 more. 2 more. There. Now we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That should be enough. And bring them down once again. Then we're gonna focal shift it to be a bit, no, don't do that, be a bit sharper. And we're gonna bring up just the part near the bottom of the mustache to blend it in a bit. Okay, now, gonna go back down, go back to slash, and add, and what we're going to add here is an edge to the sides of each. And for those who didn't hear that, apparently Bill Cosby was just found guilty on all counts. Whatever you think of that particular matter, let's keep it out of the chat, but it's a thing that just happened. Bring it over, bring this down. What we're doing is we're making the edges of the locks sharp so that when it's printed, it will be more likely to catch the edge of a paintbrush. Okay, and now we go back to the mustache. And again, with the mustache, it's smaller. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and draw on a couple edges. And then let's go ahead and make it backwards too. Let's go ahead and give it a division. No, that broke up. And frame. Yeah, that looks a lot more dwarven. Oh, I forgot to add on the side. I forgot to subtract on the sides. And it probably works better if I have the beard itself selected. Add. Okay, now I frame it back. So look at all we've got currently. Okay. And zoom him out, and okay, it's time for a soda break. Next up is the collar, which means we've got to go back to the coat. Let's go ahead and make everything else invisible. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give it a vertical collar, then a side breast collar. The reason for this is to make it a little bit more piratey. Arr, matey. Now let's go ahead and make that 0.06. Extract, accept. Now if we look with the body on, it's still not quite high enough. So we're going to go ahead once again. We're going to dynamesh it. Smooth it a little bit. Let's make just a little bit. Okay. It's again peeking over. No, nobody watching. So let's frame on this. Get back to what I was doing. Now down here, I'm just going to go ahead and make this start to fade away because it's going to be hidden completely underneath the beard and now inflate. Let's shrink this down. What I'm going to do and then move topological. What we're trying to do here is bring it up to almost ear level. Make it more piratey. And we're going to go ahead and subdivide it a couple times, delete lower, and we're going to polish the front. What that means is we're going to flatten the front of the collar. And then the top of the collar. The reason being is because we want this collar to look like a collar, not like yeah. And then that gives us that part of the collar. And now we go back to the subtool, make sure it's got the jacket selected. And now we're going to, oh, for one thing, we're going to shrink them. Now the next thing is sharpen that. Now And now we extract these 0.02. And then geometry Dynamesh. Geometry divide, delete lower, slash, and let's make the intensity a little bit lower and the brush a little bit lower, a little smaller. And then we make it a lot smaller, a bit more. And we'll go ahead and draw down the edge. And draw down the edge. And then we're going to polish. We're smoothing off the edge of this, and then smoothing off the edge of that, and then smoothing off the front of this. So, we frame full body, subtool, select actual person, and what we have left let's go ahead and let's move the color up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to merge these down because we want to manipulate the entirety of the long coat at once. Okay, there's pretty much two things left. There's doing the hands and making the boots. We're going to assume he's wearing breeches. So, to make the boots, we pretty much do everything we've been doing. We select the dwarf, and we turn everything else off. And we make sure we have, dwarf is selected. We're gonna unselect the body. Now what we're gonna do with the boots is we're going to just basically select and draw on where the boots would be on the calf. Just like before, we're extracting the boots, but we're not extracting the entire boot. The feet are good enough as a basic boot. It's what they're intended to be. So, once we've extruded, or not extruded, but extracted these little boot cover areas, we're going to blend the bottoms back in towards the legs. Okay, so extract, extract, accept. Nice and simple. And then just make that bigger. And we're going to blend in the bottom. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to Dynamesh it. Dynamesh. We're going to use smoothing to blend in. Oh, come on. The bottoms. Not completely. Because if we did it completely, it would look weird. Oh, come on. What? That's the problem with using it only does that when I've got it on the tablet. Well, now let's go ahead and make these boots. Let's merge down with those boots. And then we're going to Dynamesh. Wait, no we're not. Undo the merge. So I can't extract it again. Accept. Geometry. Dynamesh. Smooth this a bit. and then subdivide a couple times. And delete lower. Then we're going to merge down. And we're going to dynamesh them. 0, 512. Oh wait. 0, 512. What the hell? There we go. Now we can have an easier time blending where the tops of the boots meet. And once I've got the seam blended, I'm actually going to enlarge it, or expand it out a bit so that it looks more like boots going straight down and less like calves with like king-size calves. So inflate. And then we're going to add, oh, too big. So now what we're going to do is we're going to shrink this now and add ankle bones. Alright, that is the basic version of this figure. Now, why do I say basic? Because it's got no wrinkles. That's right, it's got no wrinkles. So we're going to go ahead and close everything except the coat. We're going to put wrinkles in the coat first. Then we're going to put wrinkles in the pants. So I wish I knew who was in here. Who's this that's actually, watching the broadcast? Alright, so for this I use standard brush. One of the things that it has is it has a gravity strength. So when I draw, it becomes stronger going down. A perfect example, let's go ahead and give it a 78. See, the bottom edge was a lot stronger. So I do something like that, not quite so strong in intensity. And that's what I use to make wrinkles, because wrinkles have a direction. Oh. Oh. Higher intensity, smaller size. Oh. And increase the size. Oh, too big. we kind of blend off where that meets the Sorry if I'm being a bit too quiet for y'all, but this is something where I've got to be pretty much focused. Try to make sure that the wrinkles look correct and not just, you know, randomly thrown on. So I gotta make sure they're going in the direction of bends. Okay, and I do believe that is the jacket. Now we have to make the abdomen. Or not the abdomen, but the legs. So let's make sure we get the belt and breastplates ready. Let's go ahead and to make space, let's merge the Alright, let's go ahead and zoom up. And yeah, we got, okay, good. We got that. Now we need to make the hips, or there. Alright, so we need to make the wrinkles that are normally found when you bend your legs, so actually, reduce the gravity strength. And let's cut that out. And let's just see what it looks like with everything on. Okay. I'm thinking that's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty much how we described. So let me go ahead and put my tablet down again. Yes. And now we're gonna merge down all the way. Frame, zoom out a little bit. And now we have one more thing to add. And that's whoops. We need to add the base. And now with it selected, we go to Deformation. We're going to offset Y. The first thing we need to do is make sure that we're understanding correctly. Okay. And then maybe just a little bit X. No, not X. Z. Now X. Okay, there we go. And subtool, select that, merge down, and now we can close the subtool forever and ever. And now we dynamesh the whole damn thing. Give me just a second here. Is there anyone watching? No, there's no one watching. And the end result is we now have our fused one solid manifold surface. Uh-oh. Polish. Anyway, let's now go to Decimation Master. So that'd be Z plugin, Decimation Master, 35K. And it's going to take a few minutes, about a second per percent. Aha. Once it has done that, then we export him. And that is our dwarfy dwarf for the party. So I've been on for how long now? Doesn't say. Bum 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 bum. 4, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. A few more seconds left. Reordering the vertexes, and then calculating the change. Writing file to disk. And polygon count 70,000 to 35,000 active points. We have here our final version. Now, next thing we do is we smooth this out, because that's a problem. is we go ahead and frame it. We're going to export it. And we're going to call it, you can't see the saving windows. This is going to be Dwarf Flail Figure. And just to give you an idea on the size of the dwarf compared to the size of, say, an elf, I'm going to go ahead and append another subtool. This subtool is going to be the High Elf Druid. And then, with that selected, go up to Deformation, and it's going to offset to the left. And now we're going to frame. And that is an elf and a dwarf. Yay! And now I'm going to go ahead and log out, because that's all this was. And I guess I will say thank y'all. And I will see y'all next time. Goodbye. Oh, let me make sure I'm going to be doing it at a time when I can actually be seen, so. Bye-bye.